Sometimes you come across a story and it's one of those things that just makes your stomach churn. And that's what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
It's a situation where a former CEO, an ordained minister, David Vogel, is claiming that he's being denied medication, like crucial medication for chronic pain.
Wow.
And he believes it's all a twisted form of retaliation.
So David Vogel, he's meticulously documented his claims in a LinkedIn post. He's even drawing a parallel to the treatment of Michael Cohen.
Yeah, that's right. Vogel is saying that Patrick McFarland, who's the individual that he claims is orchestrating this,
Right.
has a history of going after people who speak out, just like he allegedly did with Cohen.
Uh-huh. And so this time around, how is he allegedly targeting Vogel?
Well, he's being denied medication that he relies on to manage a chronic pain disorder.
If Vogel's account is accurate, that raises serious questions about, the potential for abuse of power here.
It's a chilling thought, to be honest.
Mm.
Cohen was subjected to solitary confinement for 16 days, enduring unimaginable conditions, just for exercising his right to free speech.
Right. Now Vogel is saying McFarland is using his authority to inflict a different kind of pain on him. It's constant grinding pain that he can't escape.
So let's get into the specifics of Vogel's claim. He states that the rules governing his situation explicitly allow him to take medication if it's prescribed by a doctor.
Right.
There's no mention of needing further authorization.
So basically he's saying that his doctor's prescription is the authorization.
Exactly.
And McFarland is twisting these rules to make Vogel's life a living hell.
That's what Vogel's alleging. To strengthen his case, he even cites legal precedents like Pesci v. Coppinger and Smith v. Rizzo County.
Right.
These cases establish that denying even inmates in maximum security prisons access to prescribed medication is unlawful.
It's almost unthinkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
To deny someone relief from chronic pain, especially when there's a legal prescription in place.
Absolutely.
Vogel describes the pain as constant and grinding. It's the kind of pain that wears you down, that chips away at your ability to function, to think, to live. And we have to acknowledge the impact this must be having on Vogel's well-being. Chronic pain can be debilitating, both physically and psychologically.
It's like Vogel's being subjected to a form of torture, just like Cohen was.
Mm-hmm.
Only this time, the torture is the relentless, agonizing pain he's forced to endure.
The pain that could be alleviated with medication he's legally entitled to.
Exactly. That brings us to a question. If a government official can seemingly manipulate rules to deny someone their medication,
right,
what message does that send to others who might dare to speak out or challenge authority?
What kind of chill does that send down people's spines?
It's a chilling thought, and it makes you wonder how many others might be suffering in silence, fearing that if they raise their voices, they too will be subjected to this kind of torment.
That's a good point. What I find unsettling is the seemingly arbitrary nature of this medication denial. Vogel's adamant that his doctor's prescription should be sufficient authorization, and there's no indication that he's misusing the medication or that it poses any risk to his health or the safety of others.
It's as if McFarland is playing God with Vogel's health, holding him hostage to excruciating pain just to make a point.
That raises serious ethical concerns about the responsible use of power. It's hard to fathom the level of indifference, cruelty it would take to deliberately inflict such suffering on another human being.
Vogel's case is a stark reminder that we can't take our rights for granted. We need to be vigilant in protecting them, both for ourselves and for others. The thought of someone being denied basic medical care, seemingly out of spite, is simply unacceptable.
It is. It highlights the potential for abuse that exists within any system that grants individuals significant power over the lives of others. It really makes you question, what their priorities are.
Right.
Is it really focused on the well-being of the individual, or is it something else entirely?
Vogel even compares his situation to Michael Cohen's. He argues that both he and Cohen faced retaliation for exercising their First Amendment rights. Just in different forms, Cohen endured the physical and psychological torment of solitary confinement, while Vogel is subjected to the relentless agony of untreated chronic pain.
Yeah, they're both stark examples of suffering, whether it's the deprivation of liberty, the infliction of physical pain, or the psychological torment of knowing that your suffering is being deliberately ignored. The impact is profound.
Yeah. What gets to me is the seeming indifference to Vogel's pain. He describes it as constant, grinding, a pain that wears you down, that makes it hard to function, to think, to exist.
Yeah. Chronic pain is debilitating. It affects your whole life, your physical health, your emotional well-being, your relationships,
Yeah.
your ability to work, to contribute to society.
Yeah.
And for Vogel, that pain is made worse by the fact that it could be alleviated. There's medication out there that could help him manage that pain and live a more fulfilling life.
Right. But that medication is being withheld from him, seemingly without justification, leaving him to endure unimaginable suffering.
It's a stark reminder that sometimes the most cruel and inhumane acts aren't physical violence.
Right.
It's the indifference, the bureaucratic roadblocks, the just callous disregard for another human being's suffering.
Vogel's story is a testament to the human spirit, but it's also a sobering indictment of a system that allows this kind of suffering to continue.
Yeah, it really is. He's fighting back, though. He's speaking out, demanding accountability.
Right.
And we need to stand with him, amplify his voice, demand answers, and, work towards creating a world where everyone has the right to live free from unnecessary pain and suffering.
Absolutely.
Couldn't agree more.
We can't ignore these issues. We can't be complacent. The stakes are too high. Our fundamental rights and freedoms are at risk when individuals can be denied access to necessary medical care,
Right.
silenced for expressing their views, or punished for challenging the status quo.
Vogel's story is a wake-up call.
Yeah, it is. It's a reminder that the fight for justice is never over.
It's a fight we have to wage every day in every corner of our society to make sure those rights and freedoms are protected for everyone. And it requires courage, perseverance, and a willingness to stand up for what's right, even when it's difficult, even when it's dangerous. It's a reminder that those rights and freedoms we value so much, they aren't guaranteed. We need to be vigilant, informed, and willing to speak out against injustice wherever we see it.
We started this deep dive asking you to imagine someone being denied medication they need just because someone in power wants to make them suffer. And we've looked at Vogel's story and the alleged actions of Patrick McFarland, and the chilling comparison to Michael Cohen's experience.
Right. And it's clear that if Vogel is telling the truth, there are serious concerns about abuse of power and a disregard for his well-being.
And the rules, as Vogel understands them, state that a doctor's prescription should be enough to authorize his medication.
Right.
But he's saying those rules are being twisted and manipulated, and he's being left to endure excruciating pain.
And the pain is key. We can't forget about the human cost of what's happening. Vogel describes the pain as constant and grinding. It's the kind of pain that overwhelms you, that makes it impossible to function, to sleep, to just be.
It's hard to imagine that kind of suffering, and the fact that someone is choosing to deny him relief is just, it's wrong.
It really is a violation of his basic human dignity, and it raises serious questions about the ethics and legality of such actions.
And Vogel compares his experience to that of Michael Cohen, who was subjected to 16 days in solitary confinement,
Right.
which has been widely condemned as torture.
Yeah. And while the type of suffering is different, the principle is the same. You're intentionally inflicting pain to control or punish someone.
And that's a scary thought. If someone in a position of power can use someone's health, their pain, as a weapon,
Right.
what does that say about the balance of power in our system?
It really suggests there's a huge power imbalance where people can be treated terribly and have no way to fight back.
Vogel's story shows that even in a society with laws and rules, people can still suffer when those in power choose to disregard those laws.
It's a wake-up call for all of us to be more watchful, to demand transparency and accountability from those in authority, and to advocate for a system that actually protects everyone's rights and well-being.
This deep dive into Vogel's story has been disturbing,
Yes.
but it's also shown us how important it is to speak truth to power, to stand up for what's right,
Yeah.
and to work for a fairer and more compassionate world.
Vogel's story shows us the human spirit is strong, but it also reminds us that we need to take action. We can't just sit back and watch. We have to participate in creating a world where things are more just and fair.
We encourage all of you listening to learn more about the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and look into the legal cases we've discussed in this deep dive. Stay informed, stay engaged, and never be afraid to speak out against what's wrong.